guests were just discussing whether they are national treasures or national trashes. We know exactly what they are.
Yeah.
From tackling topical news stories to revealing some very personal insights and opinion, the Loose Women have been bringing us a daily dose of discussion and lunchtime laughs for an incredible 25 years.
And now fans of the show are able to get even more up close and personal with some of their favourite panellists in a brand new podcast. Denise Welch and Jane Moore join us now. I mean, you didn't think you could get any more up close and personal.
Well, I know we've all shared our lives for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, it does make me laugh when you get people on some of the more cruel social media channels and they go, you know, oh, Denise Welch, it's always about you. It's like, yes, that's the show. That's in our contract.
That's the point.
It's meant to be about us. It's an opinion and anecdotally led show, which is very different from some of the other shows where you will have to remain much more neutral.
And to be honest, that's the beauty of it. You feel like you're sitting down with your mates and you could be having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and just having a chat.
Yeah, like the viewer is the fifth Loose Women.
Yes.
And like when we did the live tour, I think, because when you do telly, don't you know people are watching, but you're looking at a camera. So when we did the tour, we suddenly saw all these fans of Loose Women, like, coming to see us.
We were like a nano rock band at the stage.
We were. It was like, it was amazing, wasn't it? So I think then the germ of the idea was, oh, OK, well, we could do something a little bit extra, you know, which is maybe a little bit more intimate for the people to get to hear more of us.
We always... Because we usually, you know, we have certain topics that we give our opinion on and, you know, if there's time, our anecdotes on. But, you know what it's like, 30 seconds, 20 seconds. And so the podcast, it's not late night loose, so we still can't be rude and sweary, but which is very difficult for us. But it's going to be a little bit more about our lives. So we will be asking each other questions. Jane and I have actually known each other for 40 years, way before Loose Women was a twinkle in the eye.
I fill in all her blanks. And there are quite a few over the years,
I say, Jane, remember Amsterdam, I shall say no more.
But you know what, Denise, because I've listened to the first one with you and Ida.
Yeah.
And it's so personal. And you talk about Matty and your postnatal depression, but in a really honest, open, no-holds-barred way.
I mean, that's what's so lovely, that we have the time to let these subjects breathe a bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that I have talked about the onset of my depression, which started postnatally many times, but not in as much depth as I was able to do on that show.
Yeah.
And then similarly, I've known Ida for a long time, but I've always wanted to talk to her, if she was open to it, about did she feel different when she gave birth to her own children, because she had two by surrogate. And so it was just lovely to have a conversation with someone I've known a long time. But
lovely.
Talk of filling in the blanks, we also want someone to fill in the blanks on the night out with Robbie where you woke up, both of you covered in toothpaste.
Yeah, and
you don't want to go there.
And we've got no idea why. You know why I said that was because we were talking about addiction, and the people who live and love those with addiction often get left behind. I'm an addict, Robbie's an addict, and we were together in the bad old days, but you live with so much shame with addiction. You have to sometimes try and lighten it, because otherwise it will drive you to despair. So sometimes you have to think, oh my God, not a good look, but do you remember the time we woke up in Notting Hill covered in toothpaste? We don't know why, we just had great breath.
That'll be another podcast. But so it works out, as you heard, so the first one of the week is a Tuesday, every Tuesday, and it's sort of more of an in-depth chat. And then the one on a Friday is us answering questions from viewers. So we're about to record, Judy and Nadia are doing that this week.
That'll be released on Friday.
That'll be released on Friday.
So next week I'm doing one with GK Barry.
Oh, great.
But she informed me, she's 25, and I realised that she was born the day I started doing Loose Women.
Yes, because it's 25 years older. The day.
Which just makes me feel so old. And I saw that clip you just showed.
But that'll be fascinating, that
I had collagen then.
Look at...
I had collagen. Look at me. Oh, my God.
Look at me, I've got the same hair and the same suit on, I think. Oh, my God.
Look at the set as well. Oh, so much. I mean, but I think there's an interesting thing, Jane, isn't there? Because as a journalist yourself that has conducted untold interviews, the fact that you can sit down, it'll be GK that you're with next week, and actually the two of you interview each other and chat, but it's long form, and we are very constrained because it's live television. And you can just talk.
Breathe, as you just said, you know, because sometimes they will literally say to you, oh, tell your story, you know, tell about your postnatal depression. 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You end up sounding like Chip and Dale trying to get it all in before the... So it's just nice to have a more intimate sort of feel to it,
By the way, Laura, who's counting in our area today, said it's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
We know it's not your fault. No.
Yeah.
It's the others. But I think there's something, and listening to that first episode as well, we got to know you all so brilliantly over the years, and it's amazing to think there is extra stuff in there, but there really is, and it's something that the podcast world is exploding, and there's podcasts everywhere. I think you're currently 7.
We're number 7 in the Apple
charts.
Yeah, which is not bad,
and there's still an appetite for more.
Yeah, and people can take us on a dog walk now, you know, or into the loo, as you said. Not so keen on that one, but etc.
And, you know, it's like Jane said, we're the only show on television, I think, that, you know, with 4 women, we range from 25 to 85. And it's a show that not only celebrates women, it reveres and listens to older women's voices.
Yes.
And younger women's voices. And I think that's so rare on television.
How do you think it's changed, Denise? How do you think the show's changed, both of you, actually?
I think the fundamentals are still the same.
I think so. And you know, it's never about one person. It evolves over the years.
People have their favourite lineups.
Yeah, you've got the people that have been there a long time, but it's always nice to have a bit of new blood in and get different conversations going. And, you know, we didn't really grow up in the social media age, so it's really interesting to hear GK's take on that, and obviously Frankie and Stacey and so on. So, yeah, and yeah, I just think for me, it's the best job in television.
Absolutely.
For me, watching it as another woman watching the show, I love it when you guys have heated debates about stuff and you can really disagree, and then you still...
We never even talk about it off stage.
No, you're the best of me.
And then we end up on the front of a magazine, like, with a paint, like...
But that's
Jane and
Denise in toxic feud. It's so ridiculous.
Yes, so ridiculous.
I'm 67 this year. If you think that I would voluntarily come into a job with a toxic environment, I wouldn't. I don't have to, and I wouldn't. We have never had a row in all of the years that we've worked. I mean, me and Carol McGiffin, we used to have some humdingers on there. We never even talked about it when we got off stage. People like to pit women against each other. The reason we're all there, me 23 years, Jane 25, is because we all love women.
Yes, and I love watching you just be women as well.
But there has been, Jane, I think there's that because of the advent of social media particularly, there's the nuance of having a discussion that can get quite heated, but doesn't have to end up being...
And then it gets clipped out of context,
That's what's happened. I think there's been a big change.
But for me, I just think I just can't worry about that kind of thing. It's like if somebody takes a clip out of context, I'll just put up the context or just not bother engaging. Because, you know, that's just the way life is now. And I think if you go down that rabbit hole, you'll just drive yourself mad. And you'll say nothing about anything ever.
No,
so I think the thing about the podcast as well, because it's more long form, that happens less. Like Jane said, you might be taken out of context because you start something really important and then you get your, sorry, we've got to cut this, we've got to cut this. And then, you know, the headlines are all because they haven't heard the full thing. So it's really an exciting time. And we would love to hear, I think it's loose.women@itv.com, to hear anybody's questions that they've got. We'll answer most things. We're not life coaches. We're not life coaches like everybody is these days after a 2-day course.
Any questions off limits, or is it pretty much anything goes?
Well, we're not. When we were on tour with the live show, no question was off limits, and that was juicy stuff. But obviously, we will have to temper some some
Well, the end of the podcast, the first one, gets quite juicy when you're talking about dream men and
Thor,
Thor and
Idris
Bradley Cooper. And I missed The Rock out as well. The Rock's a big one of mine.
You've sorted that out. Will you take questions on I'm a Celebrity, things like that, Jane? Because
absolutely. You asked me. We did the pilot podcast together, and you asked me about I'm a Celeb.
No, I did absolutely, because I'd not had a chance to chat to her about it.
I loved it. Oh my God, I go in every year.
Would you?
She would,
Loved it.
They're
starting to ask people now for this year's, and I'm just like, do it. It's brilliant.
When Kate went in, I remember thinking, I've always thought I'd never want to do it, but it just looked like she had such a lovely time.
You would love it, and you'd be great, because you're quite outdoorsy.
You'd be like action man.
I'd just be a bit boring, because I don't think I think you want contestants that are going to be a little bit scared, a little bit squeamish, and I'm just going to embrace it. I just love it. I just be a bit too...
Well, you'd be so
you would get competitive, though.
And there's a bit of that. Yeah, there's a bit of that.
For sure you would. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for dropping in. Are you on the show today?
We are.
You're going from
we
here
are.
to next door?
We are. I'm going to have
Okay.
me Marmite and toast and then get on the other show.
Really lovely to see you both. Thanks for dropping in.
Thank you.
So it's already number 7 in the Apple podcast charts. You can find out why if you listen to the first episode of Loose Women, the podcast, by downloading it. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.